Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a hot minute, it's been a long time, but I'm back, I think. I think this is like the longest hiatus that I've taken from YouTube ever, and none of it was intentional. But I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys and kind of like reconnect and regroup before I make the decision to like just fully hop back into YouTube. I feel like so much has like gone on in my life in the last few months, and it just doesn't feel right to just come on and just gush over hair products and fragrances and act like nothing happened, you know? So today I am going to be doing my hair, but I'm not going to be using anything new. I'm just going to do this like self-care Sunday style. I'm going to be using a current favorite. You guys know I love this. The Coconut Milk Strengthening Deep Conditioner from Nature's Little Secret. I'm going to use her today. And I do have a video featuring this product as well as all the other products that I'm going to finish off my hair with. I probably won't do that on camera. I'm going to style my hair with the Irish Moss Styling Cream. I'm almost done with my old jar. And I'm almost done with my old bottle of my Flaxseed Curly Custard. So these are like almost at their expiration date. So I'm trying to finish these off. So that's what I'm going to use to finish my hair. But I figured I'd just sit down and talk to you guys. Just go over what's been going on in my life. And just kind of like get back into that happy place. I haven't been in that happy place in a while. And I miss you guys. So if you're interested in just sitting down and chatting with me and reconnecting, then just keep on watching. So full disclosure, like I filmed a video similar to this like a month ago. Reviewing a lot of new products. Like I did reviews on the She Sent It products. I did new videos on the new Curl Origin products. And I started some videos on other products too, but I just looked so dead in those videos. Like I can't even say, like, it wasn't that I looked sad. It wasn't that I looked angry. It wasn't that I looked upset. I just looked like I wasn't even here. Like my body was there, but like I wasn't there. And I kept trying to edit and post those videos and I just couldn't post them. Like I just didn't look like me, and it just bothered me. And I knew that if it bothered me, then it would bother you guys, because I feel like as a community, you guys know me way better than a lot of other people. And I think you guys would have seen straight through me. Those of you who have hopped in on my last live, which I do want to do more lives. I feel like I want to try to do at least one a month once I kind of have my bearings. So those of you who caught that live stream know that there's been a lot going on with my family. We've been dealing with death in the family, an incredibly unfair death at that. There's been a lot of health issues with my dad and with my grandma, and things had gotten better. Like we had gotten to a point where we had turned a corner, and it wasn't like we were on pins and needles all the time. But I told you guys that I'd really like taken up kind of the caretaker role, especially since my mom, she works out of the home. Me being home, it's a lot easier for me to step in and take care of my family. And that's a blessing in itself, but it was a lot. It was a lot emotionally. It was a lot, on my physical health as well, just because stress isn't good for anybody, but it heavily affects my endometriosis. And that had already been leading to some flare-ups. And it's one of those things that I kind of can't help. Like I know that it triggers it, and you know, sometimes it's just easier to kind of try hard to be indifferent so that you don't really trigger it as much, but sometimes you just can't help it. Like sometimes, like you can't not make yourself be sad, or like you can't make yourself not be angry, you know? And that was already causing some issues for me. And things had kind of turned a corner, but there's still a lot going on with my family. There's still a lot going on with my dad that I just don't even really want to talk about, because I don't really want to give it legs. Like I'm hoping that it's just nothing, and that we'll move on and he'll be fine. But I don't even want to talk about it because I don't really want to breathe life into it. And things have still been really difficult with my grandma. She's basically decided that she's not going to like do anything to live, and that's been really difficult to deal with. Like, we've seen her go through a lot, and she's just been making the decision that she's just not going to care about her health anymore. And it's really frustrating because we've all been putting in a lot of time and rallying around her and trying to make sure that she feels supported, and she's pretty much gone out of her way to not live, you know. And those of you who have like family who's sick, who's going through it, if you have been in that position, I'm sure you understand. Side note, I'm going to use this Tangle Teaser. I got this in an influencer box, and it's their detangling hairbrush for 3C to 4C hair types, ideal for wet hair. So it says naturally curly on it. I don't know if this is a brush that they did with like naturally curly, like the company, the website. I don't know, but I've been neglecting my hair, and I know I need to do some extra detangling, so that's what I'm going to do. So that's been really difficult emotionally, especially after having already lost a family member at the beginning of the year. It's like you're just trying to hold on to everyone that you can, and it's really hard to see someone not fight for themselves. It's like you can, especially when it comes to stuff like that, like there's a lot going on with her body, and when it comes down to it, like if there are just some situations where if that person chooses not to fight, then they're just not going to make it, you know. And that's kind of the situation that she's in, and that's been difficult to deal with. This is very stiff. Like, the actual bristles are really stiff. So there's been a lot going on in our house emotionally, and a lot of things that I haven't talked to you guys about. And I think that I would have been fine if that was all that was happening. But I told you guys that I was going to be starting physical therapy at the beginning of the year for my endometriosis, trying to help with my pelvic health. This brush is definitely stiffer. I like my Philips Flex brush. I think I prefer something with more flexible bristles. It's doing the job though, like it's catching the hair, which I really need it to do because I have a lot of shed hair. And there was a lot of hair that I knew I wouldn't be able to get out earlier. I did pre-poo with the Nature's Little Secret pre-poo. But yeah, this is not, I prefer a more flexible brush, but she'll do. But anyway, I started physical therapy at the top of the year, and while it has been incredibly helpful and it has taught me a lot about my body, it has really uncovered a lot of the mysteries that I've had with my pelvic pain. And I think that once I've gotten through physical therapy, I think my life is going to be very different. But I'm not gonna lie, it's been really, really hard. And anybody that has done any type of physical therapy knows that physical therapy is really, really hard. But I'm working away at like 12 plus years of trauma that hasn't, you know, like I've had relief, of course, like I've had my surgeries and I'm doing a lot better, but people don't talk about how it affects your muscles and how it affects your ability to be physically active or do anything, like just to have like a functioning sex life, you know? People don't talk about those things, but it's really hard when you've had like severe cases of endometriosis. And even though the disease itself is not presenting as severely as it was, and I'm being treated for it and I'm doing well, there are a lot of leftover effects from how it has ravaged my body, basically. And I've been in a lot of physical pain in the hopes of lessening that pain over time. And I definitely think that it's working, but the last couple of months, like, it has been really, really, really hard. Because that's the thing, like, the person that's working with you doesn't know what your triggers are and what is going to be a problem for your body until they know. And even though there were, like, we knew that, you know, me doing any type of strenuous physical activity was out of the question, or even just like long walks can be difficult for me. Like, there was no telling how the actual physical therapy itself was going to affect me. And the thing is, they can't, you know, your therapist can't make a better treatment plan for you if they don't know what causes the issue. And my body has definitely been speaking up, and it has been incredibly painful, and it has been incredibly difficult. I think that if all the other things that were going on over the last few months hadn't been going on, I don't think it would have affected me as much. But I think the amount of emotional issues and the things that were going on with my family on one side were already causing a lot of different unsavory effects on my body. You know, once everything kind of calmed down, it was like I had given everything that I had to everybody else, and I didn't have any energy. I just didn't have anything left for me once it was time for me to focus on me. I have not been dealing well. Like, I usually deal very well with flare-ups, and, you know, I'm used to it. Like, I'm used to being in pain, but I'm not used to being in pain like this anymore. Like, it's been a couple of years since I've had to deal with this level of pain. Every now and then I'll have a flare-up that is really, really bad, and it'll last for a few days and it'll go away. But this is different, you know. This is working through a lot of leftover trauma. And it's definitely working. I think, especially like going into April, I've definitely been able to feel the positive effects of being in physical therapy, but it definitely took a lot for me to be in this position. And along with a lot of physical pain comes a lot of emotional kind of turmoil as well. And I didn't have anything left to give to anybody. I didn't have anything left to give to YouTube. I didn't have anything left to give to Instagram. Like, I was just spent. Like, I don't think I've ever been, it's been a long time since I've been that spent. It's been a long time since I've been in a position where I literally just had nothing left physically or emotionally. And I kept trying to like push myself to feel better, or like pretend to feel better, or pretend to be okay, pretend to feel okay. And it was just like, I was so damn transparent. Like, I was so transparent to the point where it was embarrassing. Like, I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't talking to my friends. I was barely talking to my family. I just had nothing left, and it's been a lot to work through. I've been seeing a therapist. I've had a therapist for a while, but I was seeing her more just because, like, this is really, really hard. And I think the thing that struck me the most was that I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. I was just completely indifferent. Like, every emotion that you could think of was just gone. Like, I was just 100% indifferent. Like, I was just shell. And it was painfully obvious. And the thing about YouTube is that, you know, I know that YouTube is an escape for a lot of people. And at some point you have to decide that, like, sometimes you realize that where you are at that moment is more damaging for the people who watch you and care about you than anything else. And at that time, I felt like being here, trying to be on camera, trying to act like I was okay, and dealing with things the way I usually deal with them, like, I just knew that wasn't going to work. And I knew that it was going to be worse being here and forcing you guys to sit through that than me dipping for a little while and dealing with my shit. And that's just what I chose to do. I didn't feel like posting updates and trying to tell you guys when I would come back. I didn't feel like that was fair to you guys, and I didn't feel like that was fair to me, to try to continue to set these parameters of when I should be better or feel better, because I tend to do that. I try to, you know, make myself say, you know, you can have this day, and then tomorrow you need to like get back on it. And I just felt like I couldn't say I was going to come back when, just because I knew that I would come back when I was ready, you know? And I wasn't going to know what that felt like until I felt it. But I knew that I was just really indifferent about everything, because I had no desire to do my hair. Like, I just didn't care about any of the things that I usually care about, you know? None of the things that usually get me excited or make me happy had any effect on me. The only thing that I've really been doing is reading. And I think that's just because it's just a level of escapism, just kind of being able to hop into somebody else's world for a little bit. But none of the things that usually make me happy or like make me feel more human, none of those things really had an effect on me. And that's kind of how I knew that I really had to step back before I caused irreparable damage, you know, for me. And not just for me, but for you guys, because the thing about YouTube is that it's a given that, yes, like here, I feel like we have an incredibly positive community and you guys are amazing. But YouTube is YouTube, and people are greedy with your time. People can be very greedy with your energy, and people can be very demanding. I don't think they realize that that is what they put off. I don't think people often realize that that is how they come off, but it just is what it is. And I don't hold it against people for the most part. But I didn't want to be here and end up lashing out at people who didn't deserve it. Like, my not being on YouTube had nothing to do with YouTube itself. It had just everything to do with me. I know a lot of you guys were worried. A lot of you guys reached out to me to check and make sure I was okay. A lot of you guys reached out to other content creators that you know I'm friends with to see if I was okay. And that is just like the sweetest thing ever. Like, just the fact that there are people on this app that I know you guys trust enough to tell you the truth of whether I'm okay or not is really, really sweet. And I'm just really thankful for the friends that I have here, but I'm really appreciative of you guys, and I'm sorry that I haven't really gone out of my way to respond, but I've really had to shut it all off. I had to shut it all off, and I had to shut it all down because I just was not in a good place, and I just didn't want to make things worse, and I didn't want to alienate the people who were trying to check on me. And I would have rather had you guys a little bit worried as opposed to hurting the feelings of the people who have been there for me the most. And so I just dealt with that the way I felt was best. But I mean, gratitude doesn't even, you know, like I think sometimes we wonder, like, if something happened to me tomorrow, like, would anybody care? And it's really crazy to see that, like, if something happened to me tomorrow, like, I know you guys would care. And that's a blessing. Life has been really hard. There are a lot of things that have happened over the last few months that I don't think I'll ever talk about. I think some things need to stay off of the internet. But I definitely wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I was okay. And that really me not being here was a safety precaution for myself and a safety precaution for you guys, because at the end of the day, like, my biggest purpose of being here is for you guys to have a safe space. It's for you guys to have somewhere where you can come and not have to think about all the other shit that's going on in the world, and not have to be stressed for those few minutes that you are on whatever video you're watching with me. And these last few months, like, I just have not been able to make this channel a safe space. And for a while I was able to at least create content for Instagram, because a lot of the content I create on Instagram doesn't require my face to be there. And I can share the things that I like and the things that I enjoy without having to think about how I look that day or how my attitude is that day. Like, I can just share it. But eventually, like, that ended up becoming a problem too, because then I felt like I was pouring all of the time that I should have been taking to take care of myself into forcing this content on Instagram. Don't get me wrong, I've been creating some bomb stuff on Instagram, and I've like created content that I'm so incredibly proud of, but I also didn't want any of that to be tainted by what I was dealing with. And I was starting to use Instagram and the content that I was creating as a way to deflect from what was actually going on. And eventually, once I was really physically going through it, like, I couldn't keep up with it. Like, it's, I mean, anyone who does social media, like, if you do Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, you know, like, you have to be on it. Like, you have to, like, you're batch creating pretty much every time you create for Instagram. It's not a quick 1-2, howdy do. I mean, that is if you're somebody who's really into aesthetics and the vibes and stuff like that. And I was eventually using that as a way to deflect from everything else that was going on in my life. And that's not healthy either. I know we tend to do that as people. Like, we take our jobs and we use our jobs and whatever else it is that we enjoy in life, or the things that we have to do in life, to avoid what's going on in our lives. It's really unhealthy. It's okay to have distractions, but once you're using those distractions to avoid dealing with the things that you really need to deal with, like, that's when you really need to stop and say, like, hey, like, this is not good. And at the time, the way that I was using my platform was completely unhealthy. It wasn't the platform itself, it was just the way that I was going about using it. And that's not good, you know? So that, I mean, that in a nutshell is where everything is. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I'm just not going to talk about. Those are things that I'm just going to keep to myself, but I am okay. And I can actually, like, for the first time in a while, say that I'm doing a lot better. There have been a lot of you that have hit me up and have been like, are you okay? And I'm just like, I'm just going to be honest with you. No, I'm not. You know, like, I couldn't keep pretending that, oh, I'm fine. I'm just, you know, kind of struggling a little bit. I'll be fine, you know. Eventually, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not fine. I'm not okay. I'm not good. I'm struggling. You know, I always try to pride myself on being honest on my platform. I think it's the only way to be, and able to preserve, in order to preserve who you are. It's just better to be honest, even if sometimes people don't like it. You guys know I've been there. People don't always like my honesty, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like even in this situation, like, you gotta be honest and tell people what's really going on. I feel like a lot of people end up just hating YouTube, hating their platforms, hating social media, because they're not honest about what they need. And I feel like as a content creator, it's okay to be honest about what it is that you need. And a lot of times I feel like we don't do that because we feel like it's a privilege to be able to do this, so I shouldn't complain. But, like, having a job in general is, you know, like, a privilege. And I mean, if I can complain about my job when I'm working a 9 to 5, I can complain about anything else. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not complaining about YouTube. It just is what it is. Like, I'm just being honest about what I feel and what I need. And I feel like in any profession, you should be able to be honest about what it is you need in order to be able to do your job well. And at that time, the only way that I could have the potential of being able to come back and do this well was to go away. And I hated doing that. Like, I missed you guys, but at the same time, you know, like, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all the things that I have to do, and I'm looking at the contracts, and I just felt 100% indifferent. Like, where months before I was super excited and like happy, and every time I got a new inquiry or, you know, bought a new product, like, my wheels were just spinning and turning, and I had all these ideas. And then I'm just in a place where I literally have like nothing. I have no ideas. I just don't care. I could care less whether I'm doing my hair. Like, y'all see how much I'm having to detangle right now. It's because I haven't given a damn about my hair in like 3 months. And y'all know this is not like me. You know, I don't think I was even remotely falling down the wheel of burnout when it came to like social media. I think that the amount of shit that has happened in like the last couple of months was just more than I could handle at that time. And I've been there before. But the difference is I didn't have to live it out loud. You know, like, we've been here, my family's been here, but YouTube wasn't even like really a thing then. Like, it was just becoming a thing. And all those things that me and my family were dealing with, like, it wasn't like I had to come on camera and function even though all those things were happening. It wasn't like I had to put on a sunshiny face outside of anywhere but like going to school, you know, or going to work. And so it's different when you have to live it out loud, and you have to, as someone who does this, you have that responsibility to think about how completely far you should live that out loud, not just for yourself, but for the people who watch you, you know? So I really missed you guys. I'm not making any promises of how much I'm going to upload, what my schedule is going to be. I think that right now, the best thing for me is to post as I feel, post what I feel, and kind of go from there. And eventually, like, I'll get back on a schedule. But I don't want to make you guys any empty promises, because I feel like, you know, the shoe keeps dropping and I keep picking it back up. But I feel like each time it drops, it takes me a little bit longer to pick it back up. And on the off chance that the shoe drops again, because the shoe keeps trying to drop, okay? On the off chance, I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. And I don't want to tell you guys that I'm going to do things that I may not do. But the only thing that I can really promise is that I'm going to try. Like, I'm going to try to be here, and I'm going to try to be present. And the one thing that I can 100% for sure promise is that I'm in a headspace where I can be here, and I feel like it is healthy for me to be here. And I think that matters more than anything else. But I just have to say thank you to everybody who has checked on me. Every single one of you who have reached out to me, whether I've responded to you or I haven't gotten to your DMs, your messages, just thank you. It means a lot to know that when you're going through it, you have something to come back to. And I think that for me, I had an internal pressure to come back to YouTube, but then eventually I realized that I didn't really need to worry about that, because I was still going to have something to come back to. And I really appreciate you guys for making that clear, that I had somewhere to come back to. But at the same time, like, I'm like so appreciative of all the friends that I have on here, especially Linda and Xavier. Like, y'all know they are my rocks, and I'm just really appreciative. So many of the people that I love on this app have reached out to make sure that I was okay, because they saw that I was gone. The brand owners that I work with, especially Elizabeth from Roll by Mercury Bath Company, y'all have just been so sweet and understanding. And it's like, it's hard because I'm that person, like, I like to give 250%, and it's amazing that I have relationships with people, working relationships with people that are also very personal and kind and loving. And not a single person that I have worked with has been anything less than understanding and supportive. And I'm so thankful just for everybody. Like, I think the only thing that I really hated about this was that I was just so numb that there was a point in time where I couldn't even process that and I couldn't even feel it. And I'm just happy that now I can like bask in that and enjoy that. And I'm just incredibly thankful for you guys. Like, y'all are the best. Like, y'all are the best people ever. I've had my ups and downs on here, but I'm just really grateful, and I'm really appreciative of every single one of you and every single one of my friends here. That's really all I wanted to talk about. I want to post this video before like 10 o'clock tonight, so I'm probably not going to come on with my finished deep conditioning session. But you guys, like I said, I've done a video using this deep conditioner before, and so I will have that video linked, that full routine with Nature's Little Secret. I will have that linked down below along with my coupon codes, of course. If you guys want any updates on the pelvic physical therapy, then let me know. I can either do a video or I can do like a little series on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram. Wherever you guys would like to see that, I don't mind doing a post, because as difficult as it has been incredibly eye-opening. It's definitely not what I think a lot of people think that it just is. It's not as archaic as it used to be. Well, that is if you have somebody who's dedicated to really learning and advancing things in that field. And the person that I have is like amazing. She's bomb. But it's definitely been like a learning experience. It has been difficult, but it's also been incredibly gratifying, because it's just another thing that reminds me that I'm not crazy. Like, the pain that I'm feeling is not in my head, and I have that proof. And now that I have that proof, like, I have something to work toward. Like, I can actually do something about it, because I know that it is real. Like, I know that this is happening. It's not in my head. I can see it. My doctor can see it, and we can work and make things better. So I'm super excited about that. I'm not really sure what kind of things I'm going to film. I feel like I've kind of missed the hype train on a lot of things. I haven't really kept up with any of the new stuff that's come out. I don't know what trends are coming out. I haven't watched any YouTube videos in months. So I have no clue what's going on. If you guys want videos on the books that I've been reading, I can do that. I'm working on the Blood and Ash series right now. I'm working on those last 2 books and getting into some other stuff. But that's like, we're just gonna figure it out. I have reviews that I'm gonna refilm because I looked way too depressed in the videos before. I have a lot of things that I want to do, but it's just gonna take me a little bit to like rewire my mind and kind of get back to that like creative person that I was a couple of months ago, you know? So I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that we're still friends. I know that for most of you guys we are. And I love you guys to the moon and back. Y'all are some of the best people ever. I have the best community. I will say that. That is a hill I will 100% climb on top of and die on until I am gone off of this earth. I have the best community ever, and nobody can take that away from me. And the things that I go through can't take that away from me. I appreciate everybody's support. And hopefully this is the start of me reclaiming my 2022, because I'm trying to get that shit back. I think I've earned it. I think it's been bad enough, okay? I'm trying to get 2022 back. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Just let me know down below how you guys have been. Just like a quick check-in so that I can see how you guys are feeling. Thank you guys so much, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.